decades, the sport of bodybuilding has been defined by a relentless pursuit of size. The scales of justice, it seemed, perpetually tipped in favor of the largest men on stage. Yet amidst these titans, certain competitors carved out a unique legend, the giant killers, proving that sheer mass wasn't the only path to glory. But only one man, standing at a mere 5'7", managed to consistently defy the odds, securing an astonishing 12 top 6 finishes at the sport's pinnacle, the Mr. Olympia. His name is Shawn Ray, and depending on who you ask, he is either the most reviled figure in bodybuilding history, a troublemaker infamous for his unfiltered honesty, or one of its most courageous and outspoken personalities. What no one can deny, however, is that his polarizing character, coupled with numerous intense rivalries, cemented his status as one of bodybuilding's most controversial uncrowned Olympians. From an unfortunate injury that curtailed a promising football career to coming agonizingly close to dethroning one of the sport's most dominating giants, not just once, but twice, this is the definitive story of Shawn Ray's rise from humble beginnings to the very top of bodybuilding. Born the youngest of 8 children, Shawn Ray's early life was far from glamorous. His father worked tirelessly as a janitor, his mother as a CPA, but the shadow of their working-class reality often loomed large. I'm the son of a janitor. My mom was a CPA, and I'm the youngest of 8, so I was the last one to eat. Got the smallest piece of meat. Grade school, I think, was more for me of an embarrassment. My dad would work those odd hours, and when I get up for school and go to the store with my friends, my dad would be in a parking lot sleeping at the wheel because he's coming back from work and we're starting our day. My dad, he wore these painter overalls when he did his janitorial stuff, and it would always be dirty, and you just kind of thought, man, Dad, you're embarrassing me. The young Shawn learned the meaning of hard work early, often helping his father clean toilets and wash windows on weekends while his friends headed to the beach. These experiences ignited a fierce determination within him, a drive to achieve something more. He stated, "It taught me something that I gotta be better than that. I want to be better than my dad." Yet, bodybuilding was never Shawn's initial ambition. His first love, his driving passion, was football. He envisioned himself playing in the Super Bowl one day, running his way into the history books as a running back, punter, defensive halfback, and kick returner, rarely leaving the field. His high school record for the longest run from scrimmage, a staggering 98 yards, still stands decades later. To excel in varsity football, a weight training program became essential. He noted, "Took to like fish to water, I dove in. Something snapped in me." This unexpected foray into the weight room introduced him to John Brown, a 2-time Mr. Universe and 3-time Mr. World, who recognized Shawn's raw potential. John Brown recalled, "I remember you in the gym staring at me. I thought, let me go over and talk to this guy. So I went over and introduced myself. I said, 'What do? You a bodybuilder?' He go, 'No, I'm a football player.' I said, 'Oh, you want to bodybuild?' He says, 'I don't know.' I'm like, 'From what I'm seeing, the way you look, you should bodybuild.'" But destiny had another plan. During a crucial playoff game, his knee sprained, sidelining him from the championship match they ultimately lost. Watching his football dream evaporate, Shawn found himself at a crossroads. The choice was clear. Shawn chose to compete, setting his sights on the Teenage National Championships. Along the way, he met 1982 Mr. Olympia, Chris Dickerson, who introduced him to a famous photographer, John Ballack. The photo shoots were transformative. Shawn explained, "It wasn't until I saw the pictures at 18 years old that I started to believe, by comparing myself to Chris Dickerson, that this is something that I could probably do." With Mr. Olympia winners like Samir Banaut and Chris Dickerson being of similar stature, Shawn realized that his physique, even at his height, had immense potential. After just 3.5 months of dedicated bodybuilding, he entered his first contest, placing second. His first significant roadblock was the 1984 Teenage Nationals, where he lost to reigning champion Franco Santillo, yet managed to beat him a week later. Shawn reflected, "It was like an instantaneous gratification. I could beat a guy bigger than me, kind of solidified my individuality in the sport. I wanted more from me. I wanted to get bigger. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to be the best." Even as a teenager, Shawn's physique was so advanced that he was often accused of drug use, a testament to his, quote, genetic anomaly status. At 20, he traveled to Australia and dominated, winning the 1985 Junior World Championships. The guest poser, Mr. Olympia runner-up Albert Beckles, gave Shawn a close look at what an Olympian truly embodied. The ascent was rapid. In 1986, at just 19, Shawn graced the cover of Flex magazine, receiving fan letters that solidified his burgeoning career. He realized he could truly compete at the Mr. Olympia level when he captured the Mr. California title at 21. Living a monastic life dedicated to training and study, 5 months later he seized the national championships, turning professional in what is considered one of the most competitive NPC nationals ever. He confidently stated, "I didn't give a shit. I didn't care who was going. I knew that I won the Mr. California. There was only one order of business, and that's to go and win." At 22, as the youngest open men's national champion in history, Shawn was hailed as the new phenomenon of the bodybuilding world. Yet the fanfare was slower to materialize than he expected. His pro debut at the Night of Champions saw him place fourth, a result that nonetheless qualified him for the ultimate stage, the Mr. Olympia. Shawn humbly assessed, "I like to look at myself more or less as a diamond in the rough. I think I've got a long way to go. I got a lot of refinement to do, a lot of maturing to do." The 1988 Mr. Olympia was a harsh awakening. Despite the hype, Shawn felt like, quote, a pace car in a race, not a true contender. On the very day of the contest, his grandmother passed away, a poignant mix of triumph and tragedy. He realized the profound seriousness required to compete at the professional level. He admitted, "I didn't really recognize how serious you had to be as a professional bodybuilder till I was standing on stage at the Mr. Olympia until they did get to the top 10 and I was not amongst them." The challenges continued into the 1989. While training legs with Mike Christian at Gold's Gym, Shawn suffered a severe neck injury, a sudden pop, a pulsating pain at the base of his head, and his plans for the upcoming Arnold Classic were shattered. He was 5 weeks out, already defeated. Shawn recounted, "I had the doctor fax Wayne DeMilia all the information. I land in Columbus, Ohio, on the plane ticket that Jim Lorimer got me. Show up at the athletes meeting to address what's going on. Wayne DeMilia basically says, 'Are you competing?' I said, resigned, 'No.' He says firmly, 'Well, then you're suspended.' The lack of immediate medical documentation led to a 1-year suspension. Surprisingly, Shawn found relief in this setback. It granted him the time he desperately needed to truly prepare. He declared thoughtful, "I was actually relieved, you know what? Because I wasn't ready to get on that stage." And I said, determined, 1990, I'll be back. Emphatically, 1990, I'm going to be back and shock the world like Muhammad Ali said. True to his word, Shawn Ray returned with a vengeance in 1990. At the Ironman Pro Invitational, the first IFBB pro event of the year, he presented a physique that at 5'7" and 196 pounds looked 20 pounds bigger than his previous showings. His legs were full and ripped, his back and biceps vastly improved. Shawn Ray was the undeniable winner, marking his first professional victory. Fully confident, Shawn headed into the 1990 Arnold Classic seeking his second pro win. However, the bodybuilding landscape was dramatically shifting. The mainstream was increasingly concerned about anabolic steroid use, leading to the introduction of the Anabolic Steroids Control Act in April 1990. Under immense pressure from lawmakers, the Wider brothers, particularly Ben, who dreamed of bodybuilding's inclusion in the Olympics, introduced rigorous drug testing protocols for their two biggest events, the Arnold Classic and the Mr. Olympia. Shawn stated, excited, "I got the notification that they were drug testing the Arnold Classic, and I was all in." Triumphant, nothing more sweeter than the news that the drug test is going to come because it's going to change the game for all the big guys and it's going to favor me. Competitors, including Shawn, were caught off guard, uncertain of drug detection windows or testing methods. The consensus among athletes was to stop all substance use. Shawn Ray was initially crowned champion, but the results of the drug test released 4 weeks later rescinded his title, handing it to Mike Ashley. Shawn confirmed, "Wayne DeMilia called me and said, matter-of-factly, your test result came back positive, you won't be getting your $60,000, and you will have to return the trophy." Despite the disqualification of the year was next. This time, test results would be available 24 hours before the event, leading to several notable competitors, including Mohammed bin Aziza and Barry DeMay, being barred from the stage. Shawn noted, "Labrada and I both wanted that drug test because it would change the game in our lifestyle. At prejudging, it seemed Lee Haney's dominant reign was vulnerable. Many, including Shawn, believed the title could be between him and Lee Labrada, who even beat Haney in prejudging, a feat not accomplished since Haney's first win in 1984. However, the stringent drug testing had also subtly impacted Shawn's physique. He observed, "What happened to my body by that time is my back got a little bit more narrow, and the crispness that I had at the Ironman earlier in the year wasn't really there." Shawn ultimately placed a respectable third, accepting it as a success after his previous 13th place finish. Yet, the feeling of unfinished business lingered. He admitted, "Was I happy with getting third? No. After the show was over, I started getting pissed off because every person that I ran into thought I should have beaten Labrada. All I knew is I was in the top 3 of the world, but I had unfinished business." 1990 also saw the birth of the World Bodybuilding Federation, WBF, founded by Vince McMahon, which provocatively announced it would not conduct drug tests. In response, the IFBB swiftly reverted to untested shows. This change set the stage for Shawn Ray's ultimate vindication. Shawn declared, "Totally turned everything that I was on, winning that 91 Arnold Classic title. I mean, I never was more devoted to anything in life besides getting that title back in 1991. Shawn's victory at the 1991 Arnold Schwarzenegger Bodybuilding Classic was more than just a win. It was a deeply personal triumph, reclaiming what he felt had been unfairly taken from him. But there was still more work to be done at the 1991 Mr. Olympia. However, Shawn had peaked in March, and by September he was hanging on by a thread. The contest, held in the humid heat of Disney World, pushed him to his limits. He confessed, "Physically and mentally, I was burnt out. I really just went through the motions. I'm a victim of water retention there. I was a victim of too much work. I saw Dorian Yates coming, and I wanted to be competitive, and sheer genetics kept me in the top 5. Lee Haney clinched his record-breaking 8th Mr. Olympia title, but the real story was the emergence of a new force. Rookie Dorian Yates finished second in his Olympia debut, a harbinger of the mass monster era to come. Shawn remarked, "Yeah, I had seen Dorian and guest pose with him in 1989 or 1990, and I thought, holy crap, Haney's got 8, now I gotta deal with this guy. So I saw the writing on the wall. I knew that 1992 Olympia would be wide open." The 1992 Mr. Olympia was set to be Shawn's year. He concentrated solely on this one show, cutting back on travel and other distractions. Kevin Levrone had just won the Night of Champions, making him a formidable new contender. But Dorian Yates, with his second place finish from the previous year, was undoubtedly the man to beat. Shawn shared, "When I got to that contest, I was better than I was in 91. Obviously, I trained for a year, and I actually thought that it was going to be between me and Dorian Yates." Shawn arrived in Helsinki significantly drier and sharper than ever before, showcasing details from his back the world had rarely seen. He felt he was as ripped as he'd ever been. However, neither Shawn nor any other competitor could match the much improved Englishman. Dorian Yates, weighing roughly 260 pounds, stepped on stage with a never-before-seen combination of overwhelming mass and grainy conditioning, setting a new standard for bodybuilding. Shawn was shocked by his fourth-place finish, believing he should have been at least second, contending for first. He felt Kevin Levrone was off and that Lee Labrada was not a factor. Shawn believed Dorian, while impressive, wasn't over-impressive, but conceded he would likely win by default. He recalled, "I still remember how pissed you were, really pissed off about that contest. I thought Kevin was off. I mean, his midsection was washed out. I thought his eyes were a little bit down. His color was horrible. I definitely thought I was going to be at least second place, fighting for first." His resolve hardened. "Wait till 1993, he declared, when I have another year of just sleeping and praying. I was going to rock the house in Atlanta." Going into 1993, Dorian Yates was the undisputed favorite. No one had ever combined his level of mass with such extreme conditioning. Yet, to everyone's surprise, Dorian managed to one-up himself. Photos of his unimaginable conditioning, taken 7 months before the Olympia, leaked, demoralizing his competitors. Dorian Yates himself described the impact. He said, "Mate, I've developed them photos." I said, "Yeah, how do they look?" He said, "I'm going to bring them down to you. You're not going to believe this." He said, "I'm going to send them to Flex Magazine." Peter McGuffo was the editor of Flex Magazine. He was British. And all the guys that used to train in Venice, California, they used to go to the Weider offices. So Peter, he said, "When they come in, have you seen the pictures of Dorian?" No, they've gone, what do they look like?" Said, "I'll casually just drop them on the table and watch the face just drop like demoralized." With Dorian appearing unbeatable, the focus shifted to second place. Kevin Levrone, last year's runner-up, tore his pec, benching 600 pounds, a career-threatening injury that required multiple surgeries and left him 40 pounds lighter. Meanwhile, another challenger emerged, Flex Wheeler. Flex won the USA, then the Ironman Pro, and then his first Arnold Classic, instantly becoming a major threat. Shawn acknowledged, "I knew his genetic gifts. I trained with him, one of the laziest bodybuilders, but the genetic gifts that he had. He was just another person I knew I was going to have a long career having to battle." Shawn felt that 1993 would come down to him and Dorian. His physique had improved, especially his back double biceps, glutes, and Christmas tree. However, Flex Wheeler, though not in his Arnold Classic shape, still managed to place second, with Shawn taking third. Shawn expressed his disappointment. "I was disappointed that I lost to Flex because I watched him phone it in. I watched him miss workouts. I watched him cheat on his diet. He's just such a genetic freak, man, that somehow or another he creates this illusion with his full muscle bellies of being complete. There's a little bit of resentment, so I felt like I outworked Flex, and I didn't feel like I got rewarded for that." The stage was set for 1994. A year where the stars seemed aligned for Shawn. Dorian suffered muscle tears and Flex Wheeler, the #1 contender, was absent after a car crash that nearly paralyzed him. Shawn recalled the challenges for his rivals. "I tore my biceps 6 weeks out, and I was like, here I am, top of the mountain, my career's over, that's it, torn bicep, really bad injury. Flex got in a car wreck and almost died. He rolled his Mercedes 140 miles an hour. He helped me go through my mandatory poses. He's looking at me saying, I couldn't beat him in '93, but you could beat him this year. This validation was all Shawn needed. At 29 years old, 5'6", and 206 peeled pounds, Shawn Ray was at his absolute peak. Dorian Yates, hindered by injuries and illness, appeared less dominant, his stomach distended, his bicep tear noticeable. Shawn felt Dorian Yates to me looked kind of like a hot mess, and he just didn't look as dominating as he had the year before. If it was going to be close, that the posing round was going to carry me to victory. Shawn's confidence soared as Dorian lost the front poses, including the front double biceps, lat spread, and abs and thighs. When it came down to the final two, Shawn believed it was his time. Yet the announcement came. In second place, competitor number 7, Shawn Ray. Shawn described the crushing blow, all the air out of my sail. It just disappeared, kind of like the air coming out of a balloon. I shrunk. Dorian won Mr. Olympia for the 3rd consecutive year, and I'm just thinking, do I want to do this for another 6-7 years? 2 out of 3 people telling me I got screwed. Everything that you've been training for, every moment that you built up. Despite the profound disappointment of 1994, Shawn Ray's career was far from over. His unwavering commitment to his craft, combined with his incredible genetics, allowed him to remain a perennial threat in the Mr. Olympia lineup for nearly another decade. He was the epitome of consistency, a testament to his strict discipline and understanding of his own physique. From 1995 onward, Shawn continued to secure top-tier placings at the Mr. Olympia. In 1996, for instance, he placed second behind Dorian Yates, even though he was famously a lot smaller than the 3rd-place finisher, Nasser El-Sonbati. This sparked further debate, with many questioning how Shawn's aesthetic physique could be placed above Nasser's sheer mass, especially given Nasser's subsequent disqualification in the earlier Arnold Classic that year. Shawn himself noted the unusual dynamics of that stage, being positioned between 2 monsters. Through the remainder of Dorian Yates' reign and into the explosive era of Ronnie Coleman's dominance, Shawn Ray continued to battle for the coveted Sandow trophy. He consistently placed in the top 5, a remarkable achievement that few in the sport's history can claim. He became the benchmark for balanced aesthetic physiques, a standard that other competitors often struggle to meet despite their imposing size. Shawn's record of 12 top 6 finishes at the Mr. Olympia speaks volumes about his enduring excellence and his ability to adapt to changing judging criteria while maintaining his signature look. He navigated the shift towards extreme mass, always presenting a physique that was incredibly detailed, proportionate, and conditioned. He was a constant presence, a living legend, who, even without the top prize, proved his mettle year after year against the best in the world. His presence forced other competitors to be their absolute best, knowing that Shawn Ray would always bring a flawless package. Beyond his legendary physique, Shawn Ray carved out an equally significant legacy as one of bodybuilding's most outspoken and unfiltered personalities. He didn't shy away from criticism, often stirring controversy with his blunt assessments. He famously said, "I think the good thing about me is I don't have the filter. You want the truth? Come to Shawn Ray. But if you ask me a question, I tell you the truth. You can like me or hate me, that's not my goal." This candor, while earning him detractors who labeled him a piece of you know the rest, or the most hated man in bodybuilding, also garnered immense respect. Many admired his willingness to speak truth to power, to question the status quo, and to challenge the very foundations of a sport he so deeply loved. He became a voice for the athletes, unafraid to challenge perceived injustices or questionable judging decisions. His career culminated in a remarkable display of consistency, a testament to his discipline, genetics, and unwavering spirit. Though the Mr. Olympia title eluded him, his string of high placings, particularly his 2 second-place finishes, etched his name permanently into bodybuilding lore as one of the greatest to never hold the sport's most coveted trophy. Shawn Ray's impact extends far beyond the competition stage. He transitions seamlessly into roles as a commentator, journalist, and advocate for the sport, continuing to share his insights and passion. His legacy is not just about the Sandow he never won, but about the standard of excellence he consistently set, the controversies he ignited, and the unwavering honesty he brought to a world often shrouded in illusion. He is and will forever remain one of bodybuilding's most compelling and unforgettable figures.